the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
We're getting closer to his return, and the closer we get to him, the faster things are going to happen. The faster the healings, the faster the deliverance, the faster.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Oh, yes, boys and girls, warm welcome to Crypto 7, very early here, and warm welcome to my special guest, Fast Abdul, who's going to talk about some exciting moves that it looks like it's rumored that Richard is making at this brilliant time with Ethereum pushing towards 5K. Buddy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a jam-packed day. Lots of stuff going on in PulseChain world.
Yes, yes, yes. And everyone, please tickle the like button, slap that sub button, and ring that bell button, baby. Yeah, October is shaping very nicely. We've had some nice green in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can only wonder how much higher we're still going to go in October. We have a lot of bullishness. There's a lot of bullishness in the macro. Do you want to touch on that, buddy? Your observations on the macro, the fact we've got a new president, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm not like a huge macro guy as far as study goes, but like historically, when a new president comes in, the fourth quarter, the first term is like a bull market time, right? So I think, with Trump in particular being very fiscally oriented, we could say, I believe we're moving into a very powerful part of the market. I can't say what will happen after the fourth quarter, but I'm very bullish on the fourth quarter for stock markets, crypto, gold, you name it.
Smash the like for that, everyone. I was also listening to Ivan on Tech talking about how good he thinks 2026 will be, the second half of 2026, when Trump has full control over the money printing and the rates and that sort of thing. And yeah, and there's more money printing, so that's going to mean even more flight to safety. We're seeing gold at all-time high, guys. I mean, can you believe it? Some people are bearish, not just in Hex and PulseChain, but people are bearish in all of crypto, and yet gold has had its best year since 1970 something. I think it's up 50% on the year. It's crazy. Nasdaq was up nearly 1% yesterday. And we are now effectively part of the Wall Street system. We are part of the system. We think that we've had them included with us, but really they've just colonized us. That's a phrase I used yesterday, everyone. Crypto has been colonized. Wall Street.
Okay. English people like colonizing.
Yes, yes, yes. And you were colonized, I think, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh, to be sure. Yeah. Canada was colonized by the French and the English. A dual.
There you go. I felt we colonized you at some point. Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah. Shout out to all the
Queen on the money. All right.
Shout out to all the Canadians. Yeah. Shout out to all the Canadians. Fantastic. So amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That was brilliant, buddy. Now, you haven't stayed up late if you're in America, or got out of bed earlier if you're in Europe, to listen to us talking about notes on currencies. We are now going to get into the sexy, juicy stuff. And I think at this point, I'm going to defer to your better technical understanding and give us an update on what's going on, guys, because some people will have heard and some people won't. Richard is making moves, and I see that as very positive, and I think you do, but I'm giving you the mic now, buddy.
Okay, yeah, as do I, Seven. I think the moves he made today are probably pretty bullish from my perspective. There's a lot of speculation there, and in no way is this financial advice. It's just, how I look at it. But like what we saw today was from the PulseChain SAC wallet. First, 500 ETH moved to a different wallet, and then probably about an hour later, another 4,900 ETH moved to a different wallet. So like 5,400 ETH in total. I think 5,401. And then from there, it went into Tornado Cash, like a mixer to anonymize said ETH. And in the past, what we've seen is, wallets that have been associated with that have, bridged onto PulseChain a little while later. So, I feel like there's a strong chance we'll see that behavior repeated. However, the number is much, much bigger than what we've seen in the past. So just doing like rough math, I'll pull out my calculator. Some people seem to be having trouble with their calculators, or PulseChain would be flying already. So let's say ETH is $4,700, and we multiply that by 5,400 ETH. So that's $25.38 million would be the value of that ETH, right? Assuming the ETH doesn't go up to 5K in the meantime, which is completely possible. But so $25 million, for a round number that's easy to understand, has been removed from the snap. Now, we can't have any expectations for where it goes. Yeah, maybe it's going to pay off Interpol. Maybe it's going to, pay some lawyers. But I suspect strongly that that money would probably make its way onto PulseChain at some point. We've never seen a big move like that in order to pay a bill. So I think this is something else. It's my opinion.
Yes, and Richard has a lot of his own personal crypto, and most cryptos are starting to move now. So he's not going to be feeling poor this week on needing to dip into the SAC funds just to pay for his own lifestyle or something. I love that, and I love the idea as well that it might be to pay off Interpol, because on Crypto 7 we've always been of the belief that when he is able to have that freedom of movement and to stream and things, even if he was only to do 2 or 3 streams to get us going, it's to get us over those SAC prices and to get us past that gravitational pull. And linking with that, of course, if he is able to inject a little bit in, that is going to get us past the SAC prices as well and start to encourage things along. Yeah, we're just waiting for something to get us a catalyst event that's going to get us past the SAC prices, and then we will start moving up very, 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 very fast. And it's been nice recently. Well, we'll talk about that later, but more thoughts on that. And how much money did you say it was again? I missed that. How much money is it?
5,400 ETH, which is like, it's more than $25 million, comfortably more.
Thank you. It's early here, more than 25 million. And so what would even half of that injected into the ecosystem do for the prices? I don't know if you have any charts you want to share with us or anything like that.
Yeah, if you want to let me share the screen here, I got it queued up. I'll show you what it could do.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Yep, just why can't I get this to work? Is it this one?
Yep.
It is that one? Okay. It was that one all along. Thank you.
So I have this app here, Pampy.app, made by a PulseChain community member, made for this exact purpose of showing what the SAC bags could do. So we'll do a rough calculation, but reasonably accurate. So we'll take $25 million, we'll divide it by 4, $6.25 million, and here's each of the 4 core tokens on PulseChain. Right, so what we're making some assumptions it's going to be equally split if this ever even did happen. So we'll put in 6.25 million per core token, and then we can calculate what the new price would be and how many X's there would be. Have you seen this before, Seven?
No, not this one. I don't think. I think I saw a different one.
Yeah, I like this one. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to press the calculate button. Bang. So here we go. So if that amount of money, so less than what we were just talking about, 25 million divided evenly went into each of the 4 core tokens, this would be the result. So you'd have just about a 39-cent hex, when almost a 50x. We have 35x on PulseX, 16x ish on Pulse, and 54x on Ink, resulting in just about $72. So you can see that not that much money in crypto terms actually pumps the price very significantly, well past SAC price, right? What SAC price is on Pulse is 3 zeros and a 1, right? So it would be more than 5x SAC price on Pulse alone, and I'm sure PulseX is well over. And we're looking at, wouldn't be an all-time high on Hex, if we look at the previous all-time high on Hex and Ethereum. But if we looked at the combined Hex, I would think at this point, we would likely see that it was a new all-time high in that regards as well. So that's so this is, this is the beginning, but I'm going to show you a little bit more so that we can have like a realistic viewpoint of what would happen, because these numbers are calculated without any sort of sell pressure. So we can assume that there would be some sell pressure on top of that. So there is a function in here where I can tweak up the sell pressure. We'll set it at 50%. We'll assume people are bullish.
Oh, it's really good, this, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, it's just a toy, and it's not like, and it is not perfect. It's not taking into account every variable, every liquidity pool, but it's an approximate based on, what's actually happening on chain with live prices.
And also you could substitute the SAC money for a giant whale out there who's rich in Ethereum, who just decides that because he's done so well in Ethereum, he wants to go into PulseChain as a hedge because he likes Richard, or he knows it's a leverage play, so it's a hedge. Maybe he's irritated. Sorry, maybe it could be somebody who's on the Ethereum Foundation who's irritated with things there and decides he's going to create a sort of, not a rival, but an alternative. Maybe a lifeboat is a better way of putting it. Please, sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay, so I've set it now to show 50% sell pressure. So that's assuming people are selling into it as it goes, right? And the numbers will be adjusted accordingly. So we end up with, 16x on Hex at 12 cents and change, right? 12x on PulseX, 6x, more than 6x on Pulse, and almost 17x on Ink. So it's, that's, I think, are reasonable numbers. Of course, it could be more sell pressure. There could be less sell pressure. There's a lot of different variables. There could be a lot of people who decide they want to get in early before this happens that would actually increase the number. Like you said, Seven, there could be an Ethereum whale who's like, oh, Richard's rolling in 25 million. I'm going to roll in 25 million first. Right. And I think that's part of it'd be part of the plan, in my opinion, as far as why Richard would do something like this, would be to entice whales on other chains to come into PulseChain to take advantage of what they think is coming. Right. So I'd happily have another whale on it.
That's why we have you on Crypto 7. That was beautiful. So
thanks, sir.
Of course, it hadn't even occurred to me. So giga wealthy, and there are very many giga wealthy in crypto, will see what Richard's doing and try to front run him and think, I'll get my 25 million in first. That's so clever. Why wouldn't you do that? I'm just thinking, the Ethereum guys are going to be looking for ways to spend their money as soon as we go over 5K, as soon as we kill off a few more bears. I mean, we killed off a lot of bears on the 1st of October, 2nd of October. When we rallied hard, the sentiment got really bad in September. We killed a lot of bears in October. Now people are saying, oh, we run out of time today, that sort of thing. I guess we have to just kill all those off as well. Ivan talks about it. There's some KOL called Ansem who's been calling the top for weeks and is now saying that he's buying back in. And of course, that's what also fuels the rally later in this cycle, guys, later in Q4, perhaps going into Q1. It's the fact that people who exit now, and some of the negativity on Hex Twitter, for instance, might be just people who've sold and are now hoping that the cycle will go down so that they can get back in later. Maybe they've already taken lots of profit. Maybe they've exited completely and now they don't want to see us succeed. So you guys have got to make your choices. I'm still wearing the branding, as you can see. I'm still excited and I'm still talking about it. I mean, I can understand.
I think those people are going to come back in, all right? Like the ones who exited early, who sold too low. Like statistically, I think those are the most likely people to get back in when they see green candles, right? Like any customer you've had before, you're more likely to get that customer again than you are to acquire a new customer. So welcome back, friends.
Yes. And something else I'd like to pick up on, because when you first showed that analysis tool, you showed that what would happen to the prices if 25 million was injected into PulseChain. And of course, there'll be a lot of people watching you when you did that saying, oh yeah, but everyone would sell. And so you then factored a certain amount of selling pressure. What you didn't factor is that inevitably there would be some buying as well. So yes, some people would sell. yes, some people are just looking to sell as soon as there's a pump, but a lot of people not only wouldn't sell, but we'd have lots of new people buying. So that's not in the equation. Is that something you can factor in that as well? So yes, some people currently holding and who felt they've held too long, or who are anxious about how long the cycle is going to last, maybe want to sell something. But there would be some people, new people, the retail and things coming in and buying. I mean, you guys have got to remember that that's not factored in these tools either, is it?
Well, there's no option to adjust the buyers, right? It's
Yeah.
based on a single buyer concept. But you're very right, Seven. And one thing you mentioned before, like SAC price, I think when we start to see SAC price again for Pulse and PulseX, professional traders, like bigger guys, are going to see that as confirmation, right? So I think that SAC price, 3001 on Pulse, can't remember the PulseX one, like those are going to be huge indicators that big players and like people who are already on the chain, right, but are sitting on, like, there's people sitting on millions of stables. Not to mention that I'm pretty sure there's wallets bridged over prior to the $25 million we're talking about today that are likely connected in some way to Richard, that are just sitting there. Like I can see them. They're not doing anything. It's like, wow, this wallet has $4 million in it. It's been there for 2 weeks. It went through Tornado Cash before it got bridged on here. Wonder what it's doing. And nobody's talking about it. So, like, I think those pros, though, they're going to see that confirmation of, oh, it's returned to SAC price as time to get in. And some big traders work that way. They don't work off, oh, I'm going to buy the bottom. They work off, I feel I have confirmation that this is going to go up more. And they see that as the safer route. So once we get back to SAC price, man, there could be a whole new game. Plus, there's surprises all the time. Like Richard's made several announcements in even just the past couple of days, upgrades to the Block Explorer, upgrades to the technology of the chain, and he's asking the public, not politely, but he is asking the public for what else do we want. So I think he's taking serious action, and he's doing it really fast. We're going to see new things. We're going to see more things. We're going to see things being fixed, things being upgraded. And we might see big surprises, like, I don't know, centralized exchange listings, that sort of thing, where, it would have a massive immediate impact. Not to mention the marketing that's going on, which is amazing and huge. And I think it's starting to work. And we're just at the tip of the iceberg on that, based on, my belief of the numbers that are going to go out with that marketing project.
Yeah, I love those tablets. They're tangible, aren't they? We know they're out there. We know we can see people's reactions. It's very touchy feely. It's very tangible, and I love them. And I just think they're joyous, aren't they? They're kind of happy, and I think they diffuse. I said this yesterday on stream. I think they diffuse the sort of sense that Richard is pretentious or something, because they're quite they're very grounded, and
they're fun, good for kids, or just a handy thing to have around, right? I even heard a rumor. I think Richard started the rumor that the next batch might have fridge magnets on them, right? So you'd have this tablet that stuck to your fridge. You can press a button to erase. You're writing your grocery list on it every day. And how many times do you think, Seven, that you would look at this thing and see pulsechain.com, hex.com, before you typed in that website into your telephone to see what the hell it was, right? Like 10 times, 20 times. How many times you walk by your fridge in a day, right? Like, it wouldn't be more than a week.
No, it definitely works. And I was asking the AIs, and they said it's definitely the best bang for buck in terms of marketing. So the best way to get Richard's name out, Hex and PulseChain. I mean, I've been just checking my DMs and seeing what Richard's saying. Other than that, not really going on X. This morning, I was on a little bit just to see what was going on and what the community was saying. And there is a lot of angst in the community. And I guess I find it understandable to an extent. I would just say to people, don't be pulled away by certain KOLs leaving just when the magic's about to happen, because they may have sold their Hex and PulseChain and they're now hoping that you'll follow them to another ecosystem, or they're just hoping that you won't succeed because they have sold at these prices and walked away. Ultimately,
what are you accusing me of here, Seven?
Definitely not you, buddy. In fact, I was about to say, ultimately, if it ends up just being the people watching this stream, you and I, who hold all the Hex and PulseChain, just
We do
before
great.
Richard, but just before Richard.
Everybody else
I
can
mean,
sell.
this is what you've got to remember, guys. When you see people walking away and you think, oh, they've got followers and things, and you've got to think, well, what does that mean? If as Fast says, we do get one huge giga ETH whale say, I think I'd quite like there to be a pulse chain, maybe just as a backup, maybe just as a plan B, because their plan A is going to be so gilt edged, it's going to be so gold plated that a plan B makes a lot of sense. It's sort of like a risk management strategy. Let's get some pulse chain just in case the ETH Foundation all fall out, just in case some issue happens with Ethereum. Which is going to have an awful lot of footfall coming to it, with all the Wall Street stuff being tokenized, all the stocks are going over onto Ethereum, all the mutual bonds are going over onto Ethereum, all the AI stuff, proof of human, it's all going onto Ethereum. That means there's going to be a lot of demand on the chain. Maybe that pushes the gas prices up. Maybe it just causes a problem. Maybe it causes an outage and the institutions get turned off. So having some pulse chain is a good play, isn't it? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think as far as adoption goes, that like it's really just getting started for PulseChain, right? Like we've had a lot to overcome, but green candles will overcome many things amazingly quickly, in my opinion. So, you know, like we're going to look at that. We're going to look at like the marketing and this is just what I think, but I think these marketing devices, these Hex PulseChain tablets that are going out, I feel like the number is going to be 10 million. I have a reason for that from things that Richard's posted about it. And that's sort of what I derive from reading between the lines and, you know, decoding is that, 10 million is going to be the number of these devices that goes out. And that's a huge number. And if they're targeted at the right people, and I think they are, from just the relatively small number that's gone out and the number of things that we've seen on Twitter, from like professional crypto influencers, that, you know, this is going to have an impact and people are going to be talking about it, but it'll be a slow burn. Like, you know, the people will have these things for years. They're going to have an impact for years on what's happening on PulseChain and awareness. But we tie that in with something like Richard coming back, maybe resolving the situation with Interpol. Of course, he's already beat the SEC in court. So, you know, like we could end up in a situation where everybody was talking about PulseChain. And that could roll up really quickly into some crazy, crazy days, partially because of our low liquidity situation. There's so little liquidity on PulseChain by design by Richard, in my opinion. He made it so the ink farms weren't paying much anymore, which caused people to remove liquidity. There's no reason for him to do that, apart from reducing liquidity so that when money comes in, price pumps more. And at the time when he did it, there was no obvious reason to believe that more money was coming in unless he knew more money was coming in. So I'm fairly confident that he thinks that's going to happen and that the results will be multiple X's, and it'll carry on past just if he decides to move some of the sack bag in there. There's going to be, you know, things happening with the marketing, things happening with getting adoption from the general crypto community that will pump PulseChain to the moon. Once again, not financial advice, only my ideas.
Absolutely, but it's so wonderful to have a cool, calm, analytical head on Crypto 7 with you here, that you can sort of reassure people, because people are nervous, obviously. Some people are going to be nervous about it. And and maybe that will shake out some more weak hands. But if you are getting a bit nervous but you want to stay on board, then you've just heard somebody calmly, matter-of-factly explaining how he thinks it's going to go. And of course, when we do get the green candles, however they are prompted, then there's that ready-made narrative that we've got these millions of fabulous tablets circulated, and people will see the green candles, look for a narrative to see whether it's just a pump and dump or if there's something underlying. And certainly they're going to quickly hear about the tablets because they're already causing a footprint on social media, aren't they? I love the clips we're seeing. We got someone called Just Mike Memes who does most of the thumbnails for me, because he does fabulous thumbnails of Richard Heart with the tablets and things. And so I've been using those because I absolutely love the tablets. And as I say, they're a sort of tangible evidence that our founder is very
And
much
you could
here
buy
in
one
person.
on eBay for $1,600. That
Yeah,
one sold for $1,600 the other day, which was fantastic advertising, and which has resulted in more people putting them on there. Now, maybe the top price on the tablets is already in. That's possible. I don't think they're actually worth $1,600, but like there's advertising in that. And when somebody, obviously we're not the target audience for these tablets, but when somebody receives one and they Google it and they find out, oh, one sold on eBay for $1,600, that Richard Heart sent me a $1,600 gift is then your mental connection. And which of course is going to make me want to go to the website. Who is this guy? Why did he send me this thing? Why the hell is it worth $1,600? Like it's all very, like it's a combination of like scandalous slash exciting that I think most people will look closer because it's just too enticing not to.
that's amazing. And thanks for bringing your audience. We've got 337 people in total watching this morning, so that's absolutely amazing. And thanks everyone for coming over. And I hope that Fast has been able to reassure you guys a little bit and make your day a bit better for you, and or help you to sleep better tonight, depending on where you are in the world. Well, final thing I think before we wrap up, Hex on Ethereum has been doing quite a good job, if you like, of marketing Richard Heart's core coins. And we have been getting some attention from eHex. It was the third biggest bubble yesterday, and I think it's green today. And that has the potential to go up a lot. We had Johnny Chaos on. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it had a lot of views. 2,500 people have seen that now.
Yeah, nice.
Johnny Chaos was talking about how eHex can pump 3 times more easily than Hex on PulseChain. And he thinks that eHex is not only going to catch Hex on PulseChain, but overtake it. And it's a bit of a contrarian play because Richard seems slightly less supportive towards eHex than his other core coins. If you like, those are his favorite children, but he isn't not acknowledging the eHex. And eHex kind of links something I was thinking about, guys. eHex links to what we've seen in this cycle, that because this cycle is institutionally driven, the institutions have craved older cryptos and they've been really turned off from new cryptos. And eHex is the oldest of the Richard Heart's offerings. It's the proven one. It's the one that did 10,000x. You spoke matter-of-factly about how some investors will just look at Richard doing that and bridging over lots of money and anticipate. Another thing is just that investors look at what cryptos did in prior cycles and the retrace. And at some point, someone's going to think, it's a no-brainer this. I should be getting some eHex. And I can see eHex really rocketing as I predicted, in fact, on Sunday, and we saw a 15% gain on Monday. So hopefully this will continue through the week. And thoughts on eHex and how exciting that is, buddy?
Well, I think when it comes to eHex, you're the long-term Hex skin. You probably know more about it than I do as far as the market dynamics. But one thing I do understand is the liquidity structure. And just I just casually looked right now, and I can see on PulseChain there is a there's $2.5 million of eHex in liquidity paired against things like Hex, right, on PulseChain, or Pulse on PulseChain, PulseX on PulseChain, et cetera, et cetera. So what that means that is, even if eHex is not the chosen one, and I'm not saying it's not, because I have no idea what's going to happen there, but even if it wasn't, and Hex on PulseChain was the chosen run, there's so much paired liquidity with Hex, with Pulse, etc., that when Hex on PulseChain pumps, when Pulse on PulseChain pumps, eHex pumps too by default, right? Because that's how liquidity works. You have a pool that has Hex on one side and Hex on the other, and they're paired against each other. If the price of one Hex goes up in that pool, it pulls the other Hex up with it, right alongside it. And the only thing that pulls it down is other pools that are not paired with an asset that's moving up. So, but like there is a very large portion, possibly more of the liquidity is on PulseChain than on Ethereum right now. So, the results for eHex will not be bad. Let's just say that. And if it is the chosen one, or even gets a stipend, for its long time service to the community, because it is very low liquidity, lower liquidity than Hex on PulseChain, it wouldn't take much to get the same pump out of eHex as you would out of pHex. So let's say he's looking for a 50x on pHex. To get the same 50x on eHex would cost half as much. So you know, maybe he'll just throw that in there. You never know.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I really love that. And if and when we do see the or when we see the God candles for the 4 core coins on PulseChain, that's going to create a huge amount of interest and FOMO. And at that point, people will just rush through whatever doorway they can the quickest. And so some people will be looking at Hex then.
Won't be just
And
core coins too. Like
yeah.
because of that paired liquidity, like especially with Pulse, because Pulse is the most bonded with everything on Pulse Chain. Like almost anything, any coin you can think of that's on Pulse Chain is connected to Pulse directly or one away from being connected to it directly, right? So it's connected to something that's connected to Pulse, like at the very least. So if the price of Pulse goes up, it pulls up everything. Like every meme token on Pulse Chain goes up. Every utility token on Pulse Chain goes up. You know, the loan token goes up. Flex token goes up. 2FUX goes up. Everything will go up when the price of Pulse goes up. I noticed that.
Shout
So
out to the
like there's a huge connection between Pulse and every other token, and that connection is carried on through Pulse and PulseX and Ink as well, because there's so much bonded liquidity on Pulse Chain. It really is one giant ecosystem. So like unless you're in stable coins that are paired against other stable coins, the price on those probably won't go up. But everything else, you know, in the event of a massive pump of any of the core tokens, we'd see a pump in everything essentially.
That's absolutely amazing. And I was going to wrap it up, but then I thought, do you know what? We've got so many people, and over on YouTube as well. We've got 400 people watching now.
Nice.
And not one nasty negative comments. If you do like that kind of atmosphere, guys, you know what to do with that like button, you know what to do with that sub button and that bell button. But and then I've thought, why don't we open it up for a little Q&A with our technical expert here? And so please, guys, fire in some questions for Fast. Not for me. You get to hear from me every day talking about the macro and talking about things like Tom Lee and all that stuff that I talk about. Why don't we get a few questions answered from the community while we've got the expert
See one
here?
question there from Frog Boy.
Great. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do that one. So Frog Boy asks, what are your thoughts on Richard lighting up meme season on Pulse Chain? So I think, you know, Richard's kind of lit up meme season already by giving us pump.tires that allows people to launch tokens with burnt liquidity, and it burns Pulse every time that happens. So that's great. But like with what I was just talking about, with, you know, like bonded liquidity, every meme coin that has pairs with Pulse, which every meme coin that was launched on pump.tires does, burnt liquidity, meaning that the founder can never access the liquidity that was created by the protocol. It's always there. So, you know, that all those tokens would pump. So would we have a extended meme season because Pulse Chain pumped? Yeah, I think we would. So no, there would be memes will still be a riskier play. There'll be winners, there'll be losers. Things will pump more than Pulse, things will pump less. So if you want like stable, safe choices, you know, like I would look at core tokens as being, you know, like a more consistent thing. But like, yeah, there'll be some good memes that do very well. And like I think if Pulse Chain really hits, what we're going to find is that one day memes made on Pulse Chain will be literally bridged to Ethereum and other blockchains, but it will all be, you know, coming back to Pulse Chain essentially. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that in the future. I think Pulse Chain could have a winning meme that, you know, ends up being multi-chain with bridge tokens from Pulse Chain, therefore feeding the original community that participated in that meme. But pump.tires is the key. Richard knew that. He understood it. And he made something that was the equivalent of pump.fun on Solana, which is basically the most profitable crypto protocol ever. But in that case, only profitable for the founder. His version burns Pulse, right? Effectively making Pulse deflationary, which it is right now. There's actually less Pulse, you know, coming out of validators than is burned by the community through transactions and pump.tires.
Good stuff. Right, we've got question 2, and please keep the questions coming, guys, because this is your opportunity, and you know, this is like free consultancy to be able to ask someone like Fast questions. So let's do this while you've got him. Elbow says, "Will RH let anticipation build as people see the news, and how would he distribute funds, slowly or fast? In your view, fast? He did it before OFC with Hex back in the day. So what's your thoughts on that?"
First off, disclaimer: we have no, you know, there's no guarantee any of this is going to happen. You know, those funds could have been bridged out to pay for an expensive dentist bill, for all I know. right? So, but we can speculate because that's fun. And I think it makes sense from a business and marketing perspective that those funds would flow into PulseChain. If I was him, and I can't speak for him, but if it was me, I wouldn't make one giant green candle. It would be strategic deployment. You'd want to make a scenario to create FOMO where sellers were punished, right? Which would require some dynamics where like, oh, it went up, there's a 2x, oh, sell it back down to a 1x, and then there was a 3x, right? And then you'd feel like a tool and you'd buy back in, right? That's how FOMO is created. So a scenario where smaller pumps to let sellers get out, followed by bigger pumps to punish said sellers and make them want to buy back in, followed by even bigger pumps to continue that theory. And the whole time that's happening, we have the postcards 2.0, these tablets that are coming out, where people are going to look at it. They're probably not going to buy the first time. They'll be like, oh, what's the price of Pulse? I have that thing on my fridge. Oh, look, it's went up a little bit. They check it back again a week later. Oh, it went way up. They see that 3 weeks in a row. What would you do, right? And I think that's something that other people will end up doing too. So that's, it's all speculation, but I feel like it would be over a period of time.
Great. That was a great question, Elbow, and that was a great answer first. And I love your phrase, he's going to maximize the punishment of sellers. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Well, let's go to question 3. Guys, keep the questions coming, and we will keep the stream going. So Dion Ashman says, thanks to you both for keeping up the good work, even in the tough time. Thank you. Fast, I wondered, what do you feel how incentive token will play its role in the rise of the chain?
I feel good about the incentive token. So good, I built a protocol on top of it where you could take loans against your ink for INCD ink dollars. So yeah, definitely bullish on it. Okay, so the incentive token is made to be a reward token from the PulseX farms, right? Right now, the inflation on it was turned way down, turned 97% down, making it much rarer, which resulted in somewhat of a price pump, which is good. In my demonstration, you could see that ink is one of the ones that gets more X's because of the liquidity situation if each of those core tokens was equally pumped. Now, if we do get a big pump on the price of ink, I think what would happen is, people would see it as a value to farm again. We might get some more people moving towards liquidity. But if there was going to be a really big pump on ink, I think it would make more sense if that came closer to the end of the bull market to entice people to move into liquidity providing, which, of course, as we moved into a bear market, would soften the fall for people who wanted to exit, and you get like a smoother exit for all involved. So I could see a scenario where, maybe ink does a decent pump if there was, something coming from the OA, or if, just the chain does well in general, ink will do fine. It definitely has a huge community support factor. But getting towards the end of the bull market, I could see ink getting pumped a lot. Like we might see a $4,000 ink or something like that to really entice people to jump into those farms, to make it so that it's a safe, soft exiting position for all involved. And those who are providing that liquidity will, of course, be compensated with a $4,000 ink, for example. So, that's one speculation. The other speculation, I actually have several, is that ink has some sort of utility added to it. It doesn't have any defined utility right now, but in the code of ink, and I can see it on the blockchain, it's made to be a DAO token, so a voting token, where maybe you could vote for something, and the only things that are worth voting for are things that are worth money. So it'd be things like which farms, which tokens get to have a farm on PulseX. That'd be one that would be obviously worth money that people would vie for. The other one would be which farm gets the larger percentage of the ink, which is one of the controls that's available on a Master Chef fork, which is what PulseX is the division of the daily ink minted to the farms percentage wise. So yeah, those two factors alone would make it huge. And then my third speculation is, maybe we could see some sort of single-sided staking for ink in the future, right? And all these things could work for PulseX equally well. I actually have the same code as far as the DAO thing I talked about, and there was single-sided staking talked about in the past there as well. So, and like, where would the funds come for single-sided staking? My speculation is maybe from pump.tires. What if 1% of every meme coin went to ink stakers, for example? That would be exciting, and it would be interesting, and it would be like a giant airdrop thing that, you know, would cause massive speculation all around. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
strictly my ideas, but you know, I think there is a bright future, Frank.
Amazing question, amazing response. Should we do one more before we let our Canadian friend go to bed? And that is from Hexy McHexicon. And he says, do you guys think RH returning to streaming is important for sentiment and price appreciation? And when, if at all, will this happen? Over to you, Fast.
There's a lot of variables there that we don't control. Do I think it would be very good? I don't think it's 100% required. Like in RH's absence, the community has built itself out. You've seen new leaders emerge, new personalities that have effectively taken over those positions. So does he have to come back? No, it's not required. We got this. However, he is extremely good at his craft, right? Like I've watched his streams. You know, I've listened to his commentary. I've seen his debates, and he's better than any one of us at the very least in those situations. And he's an excellent salesman. You know, people will buy the thing that RH is talking about. He's even scared to say some things because they'll buy the thing that he tells them not to buy just because he's talking about it. So like his presence on the screen, you know, like especially if it was live, would be huge and would pump the chain without a single dime passing from, you know, his hand to anybody else's. But if he doesn't, but chooses with, you know, funds available to pump the chain and, you know, gives his blessing to the community in that way, I think we would do just fine. We have the people, we have the protocols, we have the teams of builders. So yeah, I think either way it's going to be good, but I would be happy to do it with him on the screen.
Absolutely amazing. And to the person that said, why would anyone watch this loser Crypto 7? 500 people disagree with you, buddy. And yes, obviously you've been banned. So 500 people turned up to listen to. If you enjoyed the stream, please give us a like and as appreciation of Fast, who came on, stayed up late to talk to you. I got up early to talk to you. He stayed up late to talk to you. And also subscribe if you'd like the vibe on Crypto 7. Yeah, just one negative comment. And like Richard will punish the sellers, we punish the troll. Fantastic. Any final comment before we let you go to bed, buddy?
I'm at just about the end of my rope here. It's been a long day, but like I'm extremely bullish on PulseChain 7. I think I'm actually shocked that like with all the announcements today, and like I was very clear about it. St. Wolf and I were on the screen and we talked about it. It was talked about on Twitter. It was talked about in X Spaces all over the place. And I haven't seen like a huge pump from the general community on the Pulse chain. Like, so I'm starting a calculator sales business. I think it's something people need on Pulse chain because they clearly don't understand that there's potential for a lot of X's. So my calculators will feature a multiplication button as well as like other numbers. You can put in 10,000x, 1,000x, 100x, all kinds of X's, and you could calculate what could happen for speculation purposes and entertainment only. But yeah, I really think people, they need to pick up the calculator and do the math on some of the stuff that we've talked about because it is too much to miss out on. You really kick yourself for not having a calculator. So if you need one, you guys hit me up. I'll accept Ethereum, PulseChain, you know, all the good tokens. I'll send you a calculator in the mail. Or you could buy one for much, much less at your local market and, you know, just calculate the number of X's yourself.
I love that. I love that. And if Richard is one of the 500 people watching, then Richard, maybe we could add a calculator function to the tablets so we could have a little corner area where people can just... Yeah, there's something there, isn't there? We've hit on something. Something. That's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, everyone. We have actually hit. We're 501 now. That's cool. That's cool. So, yeah, amazing. That's certainly... you know, I mean, we're all uncomfortably invested. That certainly has reassured me. And I'm delighted to have had the chance to talk to you. Oh, shout out to Saint Wolf. You mentioned Saint Wolf. Shout out to all the PulseChain streamers who are still covering the cause. And Hex streamers as well, of course. I think we need to focus on Hex a bit more because generally speaking, it's a big generalization, but I think the sentiment in the Hex community, if you like, is a little bit better than the sentiment in PulseChain. And there are reasons for that, because there are Pulsicans who don't have any Hex, quite a lot of Pulsicans who don't have any Hex, but there's very few Hexicans that don't have any Pulse. So I don't know. Obviously, it's fair to say that the Hexicans have probably been treated a bit better so far, but we are very early. This is what it feels like to be early, as Johnny Chaos says. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to you. And shout out to Chaos as well. I heard you mention him. We had him on last week. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thanks very much, everyone. See you soon.
Good night.
Bye, bye, bye. Great stuff.